Go.
Hi, this is Mike. We're back with Hamburg Honey, and if you saw our video a couple of weeks ago, we rescued a hive out of a chimney, and I let you know that we would come back in a week or two and check it out, make sure we got the queen, and possibly mark her if we see her today, and see how they're sitting going into winter. We're going to be doing an alcohol wash after this video on this hive. Because they were in that chimney for 2 years with no treatments whatsoever. So I have a feeling they may have a higher mite load, and then from there we'll decide what we need to do for mite treatments, because it is getting later in the year. It's already nearly mid-October. We're just having a really nice warm day here, so we decided we'd get this done for today. It's pretty windy today, so hopefully the wind doesn't mess with the microphone too much. So we'll get into this hive and see if we got the queen when we rescued them and see how they're doing. So I have been feeding these bees for a couple of weeks now since we got them, because when we took them out of the chimney, they basically had no winter stores that we could save for them, because it's so late in the year. So we just put these 3 frames, we took home with brood, and Lori made these up and she put these in here. So hopefully these will be filled with brood. They should be filling these 2 with honey. Now this hive probably still isn't going to be strong enough to make it through the winter. So what we'll do is, I have another hive sitting right next to it here that's queenless. So later on I'll be doing another video on how I'll be combining this hive, because I do have to do it a little differently than the newspaper method, just because this hive has been pretty aggressive towards the 2 new queens I did put in there. So we'll give a try on something else, but for now we'll get into this hive, see if they finished up. Boy, it really is windy. See if they finished up the 2-to-1 that I've been feeding them. Yep, feeder is empty, and it's at the time of year now where having any more 2-to-1 syrup in there will just be detrimental to them, because after today the highs are only going to be in the lower 50s, so they're not going to be able to take any more syrup. They're just going to have to dry down what they have, and like I said, we'll combine them with another hive to give them some more resources. So take a look at this first frame here, and it looks like it's capped honey and some syrup in there, some 2-to-1, and filling that up nicely, drying it, capping it. So that's good to see. Alright, the second frame looks the same. A lot of 2-to-1 syrup, some bee bread in there. And this side is completely capped over and full. So going into winter here, I do overwinter some hives in 10 frame boxes, but I have to make sure that they have at least 6 full frames of honey and enough brood and bees in order to make sure that they can make it through the winter. And it's really windy like I said. The wind is blowing some of our guarding over the top of the camera, so it might have went black there for a second. So this is one of the frames that we put in, that we cut out of the frame that they have, and you can see here that there is some nice glistening white brood up here, so we definitely did get the queen. And they have this frame nearly attached all the way around, so I'm actually going to take these rubber bands off of there. They were just there to hold the frame in place while they reattach it to the top and the sides. And I don't see queen on this side, but I do see 3-day-old or less eggs right in this area. So yeah, she's definitely in here. And there's a good chance she'll be on the back side of this. She does have a really nice brood pair. It is getting into the winter. So right now, what they're doing is, as these brood areas are hatching, the workers are going back and filling in with 2-to-1 syrup of honey. So as it gets closer and closer to winter and it gets colder, this brood area will shrink up even more. So right now, take a look for the queen on here. I do not see her, but I do see some more eggs right here. So that's good to see. And like I said, I'm going to take these rubber bands off of here because they're of no use now. I just have to be careful that I don't injure any bees because it'll snap right off in there and they won't be too happy with that. And you can see they've already waxed in this rubber band to cover it up. And eventually, if I left it in there, it would slowly tear out piece by piece and get rid of it. So, this is a nice frame. This hive is doing well for winter, going into winter. We did get the queen, so my next job will be looking to see if I can find her, and we will try to get her marked then as well. There's some more brood and some more eggs I see on this frame. And Lori, if you see the queen before I do, just yell it out and point for me. See a lot of newly hatched brood right here. She's barely out. Her wings look like they're in good condition. Now, like I said, I am concerned about what the mite load may be on this hive because they've never been treated in any way. And if they do happen to have a really low mite load, and here's a fight going on between some hornets. I'll get rid of that for them. So I do not see the queen on this frame either. So I'll get the rubber band off this one as well. When it is so windy like this, you want to make sure that you are keeping your frames right over the top of the hive, because if a big gust comes along, you don't want your queen blowing off the frames, because she'll have no way to get back into the hive. So, let's take a look at this next frame here. And I see the queen right here. She just ducked under some other bees. So I'm going to set this down here so you can see she is right here walking around. You can see she kind of just bulldozers her way around. And I'll get out my marking tool here. Now when it comes to marking queens, I'm kind of a coward. I'm always afraid if I grab the queen with my fingers, I'm going to smash her. I don't know that I would, but I always have
Where did she go?
that worry that I'm going to. So I use this nice little queen catcher here. I get her in here, I get her corralled, and then I push the plunger up and mark her now. Let's see.
Right here.
There she is. Lori pointed her out for me. It's kind of tricky. You got to kind of try to get her in the first go. Otherwise, she gets runny.
She's trying to be elusive.
Huh?
Did you get her?
No, she's right over here. She nearly got away from me. There, I got her in there. Yep, she's in there.
Let me see.
And what's really nice about these is these slots are large enough to let the workers out, but the queen can't get out. So now all I have to do is slowly push up the plunger. And it will not close all the way, it doesn't allow it to, which is a nice thing on the manufacturer does. And then once you get her pushed up just in between, you take your marker and just put a little bit of paint right on her back of her thorax there. And it does take a minute or so to dry. So what I'll do is I'll pull that back down and let her hang out in here for just a few minutes while she dries. And I'll put her right on the other bees here so they don't worry about where she is. So I do have to get the rubber bands off of this. Last one here. Oh.
And she is Queen Elizabeth.
Yes. Lori named her Queen Elizabeth.
Well,
she consulted with
the owner
of the chimney that we got the hive from. And since the Queen of England had just recently died right about the time that we took this out, they decided to name her Queen Elizabeth. And I'm just checking the cells here, make sure there's no disease, as in no bulb or anything. You're not going to see mites running around in general. You might see them once in a while. So the only way to tell if you have mites is to do an alcohol wash. For those guys that have bees and they say, well, I've never seen mites on my bees, that means I don't have any. That's just not true. Only about 20% of the mites in any given hive are on the bees. The other 80% are in the capped brood. The ones that are outside of the brood and on the bees are called the phoretic mites. They're the ones that walk around and hang out on the bees. The rest of them are, like I said, in the capped brood. So I'll check this last frame here, and this one is completely full of capped honey and 2-to-1 syrup. So right now it looks like this hive has 6 full frames of bees and food, which is not enough in central Wisconsin to keep them through the winter. I really like to have 6 full frames of honey if I keep it in a 10-frame box. Now if I put it as a double deep, 2 10-frame boxes, then there's more space in there, generally a few more bees, and they need more honey to make it through the winter. So then you're going to want probably 8 to 10 frames of honey and nectar and bee bread. But in a smaller box, they can stay warmer. They don't actually need quite as much food. So now you can see all the bees are trying to get back in by their queen. So I'm going to tap them off here. And as I open this up, I want to make sure that
the wind doesn't catch her.
Catch one of the legs inside of these slots. Okay, so she is able to get out now. So there she is. And she'll get down on the frames here, and she'll go right down in between the frames of bees. So capturing of the hive was successful. And there's a few more things that we need to do with this hive right now. But for now, we will finish up here, and then we'll do a